So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what it is to be in a good market. Who here would rather be in a good market? All of us, right? We'd all rather be in a good market. It's something that you can't really just all of a sudden, close your eyes and then boom, you're in a good market. No, you kind of have to work at it. You have to have what G says, a nose for money. You have to smell it, you have to see it, you have to feel it, you have to believe it. It's probably the biggest thing is belief. You got to realize that all of us have the opportunity to go out and talk to people, and if we don't get out there and we don't spread what we do, we're not going to get in front of anybody. Forget qualified. We're not going to get into a non-qualified market. So the biggest thing is we got to go out there, talk to people, get more people here. Right? We got to leverage that. I'll share something real quick that I'm working on these next 30 days, and I challenge you guys as well because you'll see it from me. Next 30 days, I will have 5 directs. There's no way I will not have 5 directs. And so I'm going to tell you guys right now that if we don't get people in this room, and I'm going to lead the charge, I don't know who's going to do it, who's not, but I'm personally motivated to do it, and I'm going to see a lot more of this because once you know how to do the appointment and you get more people here, you can just imagine what the income looks like. You can imagine what you're helping out more families look like. So I'm just very excited to go over this with you guys real quick. I want to share with you guys a little bit of how I do it. What do I do to get into that market? So to get into a good market, what do they usually say? MHK, right? Married, homeowners, kids. Who here hangs out with people that are married? Or married yourself? Homeowners, kids, right? All the above. So what about the people you guys know? What are they? They're not aliens, are they? No. They're married, homeowners, kids. So that's the market we need to be in. So the other way around, I should have a problem getting into this market, not you guys. So one of the biggest things is your enthusiasm. I look at what we do as a mission. Like it really is a mission. I know that when I go and sit with people, I know more than they know. And not from a cocky perspective, but from a knowledge perspective. I want to go there, share, and help, and show them what they need to see, so that way their life looks better. Yesterday I was talking to Nick, and he said, it doesn't matter if it's recruiting or the KTP. When you talk to people, you need to be sold out on what you do. You need to share that with them, because if you don't share that with them, then their life will continue to look like what it looks like. So one of the biggest things is belief, and your enthusiasm, and then your belief. So, and what we do, and then your expectation. Do you guys, when you're making phone calls, do you expect them not to pick up? Do you expect them, right? So one of the biggest things is when I sit down with somebody, I expect it to close at some point, somewhere down the road. So when I sit with them and I talk to them, their need is it's like a flashlight in my head. I'm like, you don't even know how bad you need this. And that's how I think, right? And then the biggest thing I can tell you guys is this abbreviation. It's called DGAS. It's called Don't Give a Shit. So that's probably the biggest one I wanted to highlight for you guys. Don't take it personal. So the whole being in a good market, not in a good market, you got to fight, claw, and get your way in there, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to kind of write the points and get into that market and all that, right? So we want to qualify the prospect, which is very huge. So when I sit with somebody or when I talk to somebody, I'm trying to qualify them immediately. So beforehand, how did I get that number? So if I'm sitting with Byron and he says he's got a stud or something, or somebody he knows, I want to know immediately, where do they live? I already know, all right, hey, LA, okay, LA, well, what do they do for work and all that stuff, right? So you gotta understand, is it a need for them or is it a want? A lot of times we sit with families and they need it, but because they don't want it, they don't do it. So in order for you to sit with somebody and sit with somebody of quality, most people that are higher end or higher quality market, they get it. They know they need it. They don't, you don't have to fight tooth and nail, like Nick was saying, convincing them. So the biggest thing that I have is I don't do any convincing pretty much whatsoever, guys, at all. It's crazy. You almost sometimes, you think that it's like, oh, I have to sell them or I have to get the big commitment and throw the big number out there. Nah. When people are qualified, they almost want this more than you even want to push it to them or share it with them. So, just know, what's its use, can they afford it? And obviously, once you know that, right, we can make it all go in. I want to show you guys a little bit of the, right here, I want to show you guys a little bit of the dream. So, obviously, I've been writing a lot of points personally, right? So, if you don't have a big team here right now, who do you got to rely on? Yourself. So, we don't want to hear this whole, I don't got a team, so I don't make money. No. You got to make money. You got to find where people have money. You got to ask the right questions. So, I want you guys to think about this real quick. So, 10 recruits will generate about an average of 3,000, I guess you call it points, right? Or gross revenue, right, for the 10 recruits. So that's about 30,000, right? So 10 recruits at 3,000, that's about 30,000. That's literally 30,000 plus your contract. So when you do it in the first 30 days, right? We're all licensed here? Mm-hmm. Everybody's licensed. Oh, okay. So we'll skip ahead. So yeah, we're all licensed. So
you'll make about 0%, right, if someone wasn't licensed. Obviously, you guys aren't licensed. But imagine what those 10 people referrals look like. Matt's a monster at this. So when I sit with a qualified market, what I just asked you guys, who do you guys sit with? Who do you guys hang out with? Married, homeowners, kids. I'm not asking to sit down with the son necessarily, right? That's already a given. So for me, I'm realizing like these numbers, like I don't have the recruits currently. So I rely on myself. Shoot, I'm like, I need to get the 500 referrals. So when I sit with these people, guys, like literally in my KTP, I'm like a maniac on it. I'm like, you know what? Do you know how to do what like Donald Trump does about not paying tax? Have you heard about that stuff? He doesn't pay tax. Like, yeah, that's why we need to talk. You need to learn how to do these loopholes. So I'm sitting with them and I'm thinking the whole time, I'm like, how can I get them to see and do what I know that they can do? So usually when I sit with them, I'm like, I don't know what you're currently putting away. You usually put away 2, 3, whatever it is, right? And I'm always up in it. I'm like, oh, you need to see this thing for what it can do. This is a Ferrari, by the way. Right now, it might start off like a Honda Accord. It's a Ferrari, though, by the way. So I do things like that. So think about this. Your next 30 days, so this is for license, right? But just think about it. 20 recruits at 3,000 personal points per recruit. That's 60,000 in premium. At the lowest contract, you'll make about 15,000. So you do the numbers, guys. I mean, how much would you? So imagine right now, okay, Krista. Imagine right now that I was a company and you're like, how much do you want to make this month, Krista? And you're like, I want to make 10 grand. You could do that with this company. Literally, like we could all grab a blank check and then like, all right, I want to make 15 grand this month. Okay, cool. Now we just put a game plan together. Sit with Nick, right? Or sit with, your SMD. Put a game plan together. All right, Nick, what do I need to do? I have, $5,000 in debt, whatever. I need to pay that off. What do I got to do? Hey, you got to do, this many appointments or whatever. So what questions do you ask to get in front of these people? I know Reggie's big on this too, getting into the right market. So what questions do you ask? Who are you talking to? Who are you sitting with? That's very, very, very big. So for me, I'm going to show you guys now the actual like numbers, which I think this is something that just sold it to me. And this is something that I'm going to run, like I said, the next 30 days, like I'm going to become a madman with this. So think about this, 1 number a day. Okay, that's about 30 phone numbers in a month. 20 will answer the phone, right? You got 12 that will probably book a one-on-one or a BPM at some point. 6 of those will probably show up, 3 are AMAs or directs, right? So you guys see that? So check this out. So that's 1 number a day, right? This is the 1 number a day rule. Those 3 new recruits, right? That's 3 top 25s. That's 75 phone calls. So currently, I have to get to 25, right? I have to get 3 lists of 25, right, to close business. Well, imagine if you were to supplement, right? It's almost like a vitamin, you supplement, right? Imagine I get 3 other, right, people that are like-minded, and 75 phone calls. 50 will answer the phone, 30 will book, 20 field training appointments. By the way, Nick was talking about it. If you get all these qualified, markets and stuff, you need to start dishing out these matchup to catch up. You need to start, talking to other people. So 10 appointments will close. Now let's actually talk about the commission. And if you guys need me to send it, I'll send this to you guys, by the way. Cool. So still in the same rule. 10 families help, right? So we're good. 10 families help. That's 10 to 30 appointments. Out of those 10 apps, let's just say they're about 170. That's 20,000 points. At a 50% contract, guys, right? This is 1 number a day. At a 50% contract, that's $10,000 in commission. So you talk about how much money you want to make this month. I think all of us should be making more than 10 grand a month, right? I'm including myself in there consistently. So $10,000 times 12 months, let's talk about demystifying the ring. Like that's $120,000 in a year. So again, is it easier to get all those numbers by yourself, or is it easier to leverage and recruit and get other people, right? So looking for married homeowners kids, and so this is kind of the initiative that I'm going to take right now. These next few days to really get this thing going, guys, and we can keep going through. Those 10 families help, right? So now we can actually do the breakdown. So this is the actual breakdown. 10 families help, that's about 10 to 30 appointments. Apps. Those 10 apps at about 170 in premium, that's 20,000 points. At a 30% contract, that's $6,000 in commission, guys. Think about that. What would that do to your lifestyle? What would that do? So I connect it, because I'm big on the personal sales. So I connect higher market, higher target. Let's just be real, guys. Let's just be real. Higher target, more money. Higher target, better client, sticks on the books a little bit longer, better persistency, they get what we do, better appointments, better referrals. I mean, it's just like better everything. It's crazy. At a 45%, that's 9,000 in commission. 55, 11,000. 62%.
Can you repeat the big market thing?
Yeah. So as far as being in a bigger market, I mean, just think about it. Bigger market, let's just talk about it, right? Higher targets, higher amounts of premium, better like consistency, persistency. I mean, it's got all the NCs. Like, it's just the best thing you could possibly do.
Because these people get what we do. They get our mission. They want to be better financially and everything. So talk about what this income can do. That's why I'm fired up right now. I'm like, man, you realize what you can be doing, and you can be doing it a lot more and a lot more consistently. And I think that we're dropping the ball on getting people in here. And I'm pretty fired up right now about this. Because at 80%, that's $16,000 in commission. I mean, you could do the 40%, and you can kind of figure it out. But shoot, even 40%, I mean, that's, you know, about $2,500, $2,600 that you're going to get even at the lowest contract. So none of us should really, like, there shouldn't be just two of us standing up. Like Nick said, I think that's a big point. It shouldn't be just two of us standing up, because we all have the opportunity. We all need to share this. Think about what your life looks like. And I was kind of reflecting after we talked about this with Nick, because sometimes you need to bounce ideas off of other people. Yeah. And if you weren't here, what would our life look like? If I wasn't here, what would my life look like? What would be the future? What would be my next 5 to 10 years? You know, what would it look like? So if you don't talk to these people, if you don't ask the question, if you don't try to get into these bigger markets, you know, these people that have a lot of money, 9 out of 10 of those people don't really know what to do with their money. That's what I'm noticing. These people have money just sitting in the bank. Yeah. It's crazy. So I'm fired up. I want to get everybody on the same page. I hope everybody kind of got some good information. If you want me to send this to you guys, or you guys take pictures, whatever, you guys can definitely. But there's a lot of good stuff out there, guys. We all need to be doing our part. We all need to be getting out there and talking to people. And I think it's not going to stop. You know, our environment needs to grow. We need to do better. We need to definitely get each other pushed. And I hope you all kind of saw some good information. And it's not harder than it looks. It's not really that hard. You know, it really isn't. It's just a few little kind of appointments go the right way. You start closing some business. You get some little fire in your belly. I don't know. I think it's all about having a fast start. So the month, we're literally what? It's the 5th? 6th? So have a goal set for this week. Don't let the whole week go by without at least sitting down with like 5 or 6 people, like at minimum, because you're at least close one of those, right? So get some good appointments going, guys. Obviously, we got to get the recruits on that end too, but it's all gonna happen, guys. I hope you guys all have like belief in all of us. I believe in you guys. I hope you all believe in me too, hopefully. But yeah, we're all gonna get it going, guys. I know that, and I hope you all learn a lot. And if you have any questions or you want me to send it to you, just go ahead and let me know, okay, guys? I'm gonna bring up none other than CEO Nick Lancaster to kind of shake us around and show us what's up with this. Let's go! Come on, guys!
Good evening.
Good evening.
Was this good or what?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good info, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, it's I like that breakdown, man. That's really, really good. You know, they say you gotta simplify to multiply, right?
Yes.
And so when you can see that 20,000 points and anywhere from 6,000 up to 16,000, like that's money on the table. You know, I mean, there was so many nuggets that were dropped right there. You know, I mean, you know, like the example he said, you know, with Krista, it's like, you want to make 10 grand? Let's put a plan together. Let's go make 10 grand. You want to go make 20 grand? This is what you got to do. And at a job, you can't do that. You can't go to Target and go, hey, I want to make 10 grand this month. What do I got to do?
Crazy.
It just don't work that way. I'm going to scoot this. But, so if the sky's the limit, then why are we still sitting on the ground? I mean, you got to ask yourself that question, right? Write that down, right? If, you know, right? If the sky's the limit, then why are your feet still on the ground? Think about that. Like, you got to. I don't care if you got to. You know, if it's like the Wright brothers, like you got to figure it out, right? They figured out how to get off the ground, right? Yeah. Now we got jets and all kinds of stuff, so it's not hard to get off the ground. We got the system. We got products. We got a presentation, we got a marketplace, right? Did you guys see that? You guys see that WeChat that I put out about the millennials or whatever?
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy, man. People need what we do so bad. So freaking bad, it's insane. People need what we do. And here we are beating ourselves up over the 1 or 2 people that's told us no, or the 1 or 2 people that aren't interested, and you're following up, and, you know, I'm trying to get this, man, you know what? Recruit the people that want to join and sell to the people that want to buy. You know how I heard that from first and foremost? Swan Wynn. Swan Wynn is the first person I ever heard say that. And he told me that at a Tiger school, but it's in the freaking, it's in his system manual. But he told me that at Tiger School because he said, hey, he goes, my first 10 appointments, no business, no recruits. This is Swan Win. Swan Win makes, what, 10, 12 million a year overriding a team. He's not a company guy. He overrides his own team and makes over $10 million a year. And this dude's first 10 KTPs, no one closed, no one recruited. Think about that for a second. And you can easily just go, oh, this doesn't work. But you know what? He goes, it wasn't the presentation that was the problem. It was the freaking people. He goes, my market, he goes, my friends and family didn't join and they didn't want to buy the product. He said, but I saw how simple it was. And then he'd come to meetings all fired up. He saw how awesome the product was. He became a client. And he goes, if people don't get it, it's not a reflection of us, it's them.
That's right.
Right? It's not that what you're doing ain't good. It's who you're talking to ain't no good. From a perspective of a potential business partner or a new client acquisition. Right? Of course there's no family left behind. Of course we're going to talk to people that aren't saving money that need to. Of course we're going to talk to people that are comfortable being average and ordinary, because you never know, right? You never know when someone could just have a paradigm shift and go, you know what, I am sick and tired of being average and ordinary. Although I've settled, I'm done with settling. There are people that don't snap, right? You know how I talk about, hey, there's two types of people. People that are saving that don't know what to do with it, people that aren't saving that need to, and how the better market is typically people that are already saving that don't know what to do with it. Well, I was a guy that wasn't saving, that have kept a policy for the last 14 years, right? But I also have the opportunity too, right? I'm also in the business. But you can convert people. Sometimes people are going to be average, and then they'll become, right? They'll become extraordinary. They'll get this, they'll see this and go, I'm sick and tired of playing small. But don't beat yourself up over people that don't get it, that don't see it. But here's the thing, you got to go touch more people. In Ed Milet's CD, he goes, you know what? He goes, it's the fear of what people think that holds you back. Write that down. It's the fear of what people think that holds you back. Whether you think that or not right now, it's still true. And how long you been here and you still think like that? Man, this is personal development 101. You got to start to desensitize yourself. Stop caring about what everyone thinks about you, about what you're doing. Because look at it like this. What does he say? He goes, and I'll prove it to you. He goes, if everyone you went and talked to said yes, how many people would you go talk to? Everyone. So it's the fact of the fear of rejection, the fear of what people are going to think, that caused you to not go talk to everybody. Right? Let that soak in for a minute. I want you guys to think about something for a second. You could have it all. You could have it all. You could have a business of your own. You could have 6 figures saved. You could be calling your own shots. You could, right? Personally developing, looked up to, inspiring others, right? Mentoring people, providing a great example to your kids, to your community, giving back, traveling, right? Doing other businesses that help people, right? You're creating jobs. You have all that stuff. Anything you want, you can have. And the only thing that's holding you back is the fact that you're just not talking to enough people. Can you imagine that? That you're almost afraid to talk to more people. You gotta ask yourself, like, what am I really afraid of? Like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I not maxing this thing out? Think about that for a minute. You know, we did an exercise one time, and it was like, all right, hey, who's going through stuff? Everyone raises their hand. We're like, all right, here's the exercise. We're take a scrap sheet of paper out, and you're gonna write down your biggest problem, your biggest challenge right now in your life. Write it down. Put it on a piece of paper, fold it up, turn it in. And everyone turned in their, right? Oh man, you don't know what I'm going through, right? pot up, stir the little piece of paper up. All right, randomly we're just gonna give you someone else's problem. Don't put your name on it, right? Don't put your name on it. I'm just gonna stir it up, and we're gonna dish out people's problems. People opened up the other people's paper, and one of the first words, we didn't even have to say it. Well, the first thing, someone goes, "Can I have my problem back? Can I get mine back? Wait, you giving it? Wait, does this mean this is mine? No, I want mine back." Because whatever you're going through, someone else is going through something worse. You know what I mean? I heard someone did it on toilet paper. Did it on toilet paper, and then they took turns in the bathroom. They literally had a line of their team, and they drew out the problem on a piece of toilet paper, and then each person go inside the bathroom and flush the damn problem down the toilet. Because no matter what, man, whether you solve the problem or the problem gets the best of you, you still got to pay bills, you still got to live, you still got to life's still gonna go on. So you got to be able. So what champions do is they're able to go through challenges and still win. It's called winning in spite of. In spite of, they still win. They make no excuses, they take full responsibility, and that's one of the biggest signs of mental toughness is take full responsibility for where you're at, right? Where you're going. If it's to be, it's up to me. Right? If it's to be, it's up to me. And we gotta make this thing happen. So I'm gonna go through our presentation tonight, okay? Go through our KTP. I'm not going to bring up a couple or anything. I just want to show you literally how easy it is to do a presentation. So what I start with before I pull this thing up is we're not going to talk about edification, and we'll go through some of that stuff. We'll do we can do a Mozone and like KTP edification class probably. Remember you did that edification that one time. But going through edification on training appointments and stuff like that. You guys understand what edification is, right?
Yes.
So you go out as a trainee, you edify the trainer, and one of the things that I make sure of is that the trainee is a client, and that when they're edifying, and edification says, hey, you know what, I want to take time to thank Reggie. He's a really busy guy. He's helping a lot of people. He's got agents all over the place. He's helped a lot of families, but most importantly, he helped my family. So the trainee can, and I tell the trainee, put your hand to your chest. Body language, emphasis, sincerity, look him in the eye. Hey, you know what? Reggie's a great guy. He's helping a lot of families, been doing this a long time. I brought one of the best guys here, but most importantly, he helped my family. And I do the little pat. I go ahead, just pat your chest a little bit. Dude, I kid you not, when a trainee does that, it's like a warm knife through butter. You ever had a warm knife and put it in a stick of butter? What happens? It goes right through it, doesn't it? Right? Meaning that's a slam dunk. Because they could see that it's heartfelt. They could see that, hey, if it's good and you're doing it, then if I see value, then I'm probably going to do it too. There's already that psychology already right there. So halfway through the appointment, so you're 10 minutes deep into the appointment, right? You 5-10 minutes of rapport and then go into edification. Right? And now you got the appointment already halfway done. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's freaking awesome, you guys. Okay. So, let me pull this up real quick. And one of these days I'll actually do a role play thing, but I'm just gonna, just because I want to show, I don't think we've actually displayed this lately, but one of the first things that I do is I'm going to go through the credibility of the company. I even think I have the old KTP. I think this isn't even the newest one. Matt puts out the newest one. He updates them and stuff. I think there's 3,500 offices. Okay, does that say 35? Okay, so I do got the right one. Okay, never mind. 3,500 offices in 45 states and 5 countries. 2012, we merged, become the 3rd largest. Currently ranked number 1 in both growth and revenue sales. Our sponsorships. What's the main purpose of showing this page right here? Credibility, right? So explain the company and credibility. So I want you to write that down. So just put First things first, go step one, put number one, rapport. Right? Rapport / trust. And then even put edification. Put all that as, number one. So rapport, trust, edification. Okay, so you're establishing a likability through rapport, which is going to lead to a trust. The edification kind of solidifies that. That's number one. Number two is you're going to put company and credibility. So you're explaining the company. This means you got to confidently be able to explain what the company's all about. Aegon, right? Over $500 billion. Right? Transamerica. How big of a deal that is. 3,500 offices. This didn't start yesterday. Right? Make this a big deal. Put some emphasis on this. People are going to buy stuff. They want to know that it's going to be there a long time. So that's where that credibility comes from. Okay? They want to know this is something solid. So as long as you can get your point across that this is a big company and a solid company, then you've done your job here. Okay? I like to put my personal touch, right? We say facts tell, stories sell, right? Mm-hmm. Say, hey, you know what? Not only do I, not only am I confident in the company, right? As far as working for the company, after being here, after working for the company, not only feel confident representing the firm, but I also feel confident them managing my money too. So I'm gonna explain that just to kind of so that they feel like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna bring it up. Like not only am I confident representing the company, but I'm also feel confident being a client of a company the size and magnitude of Aegon and Transamerica. So I like saying size and magnitude. Anytime you can throw words in there, size and magnitude, you got $500 billion company, you got number one currently, and all this stuff. Size and magnitude is huge. Okay. The next page, right, is with this one, it's you want to go through kind of maybe what they can maybe relate to. I'm always going to mention the jingle, right? Nationwide is on your side. I'm always going to say that. You've probably seen the commercials on TV. But with this one, right, this is still part of company and credibility, is that we're non-captive. Non-captive means we're not limited to one product or one company or one service. So we represent a lot of different companies so we could find the right fit for customers, for our clients. So now, some people look at that and go, yeah, but you guys are mostly just doing IULs. True, because IUL is a great product, and there's other companies do a lot of other things, but a lot of companies don't do IUL. So it's one of those things that they need to add to what they're already doing, or it's a great start to a plan because of all the benefits and features of it. But just know that if there's a specific product that a client wants, that we can, that we have the company that can provide that as well. So you're expressing the fact that we're non-captive, that we represent a lot of carriers, a lot of products, a lot of services to meet the client's needs. Mm-hmm. Okay? Pretty simple there. And then we go through, and I say, hey, before I even get to this, the way I transition into the rule of 72 and then tax boxes, I say, hey, we're a very simple company. This isn't rocket science. I'm not going to confuse you with a bunch of charts and graphs. I'm going to share with you two concepts that we feel are super important when it comes to saving and planning for your future. Write that down. Only two concepts. So I'm going to share with you two concepts that we feel are a game changer when it comes to your savings and your long-term financial future. Two concepts. Okay? So now, and then typically I'm going to say, and this is going to take 20 minutes to discuss. So I let them know that the appointment's not going to take another hour and a half. So I always do that, almost kind of like saying let me make a long story short. You kind of throwing that in so that they feel like, oh, how much longer is he going to go? No, shoot, you know what, this is going to take maybe 20 minutes and then we're done, okay? No big deal, So again, it's simple, and I'm going to show you two concepts. Take me maybe 20 minutes to go over, but I feel these two concepts are very, very important. Okay, so first one is the rule of 72. How many of you honestly feel very confident explaining the rule of 72 by show of hands? You feel confident? That's it? The rest of you? CJ, you got this? Gianni, Amanda, you guys explain the rule of 72? How well can you explain it?
Not confident. So, study for it.
Okay, so here we go. Robert, can you explain the rule of 72? Yes or no? No, you can't. Regina?
I'm not confident.
Johnny?
Yes and no.
Okay. Alright, so check this out. No, it's not your fault. It's their own fault. They've been here long enough, you guys should know it. Straight up. Straight up. This is cake, you guys. Write this down. Word for word. The rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. The rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. Got it so far?
Yes.
The rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. You can take the number 72 divided by the interest rate you're earning on your money. Okay? So you can take the number 72, divide it by the interest rate you're earning on your money. You guys got that? Take the number 72, divide it by the interest rate you're earning on your money, and that will equal the number of years it will take for your money to double. So you take the number 72, divide it by the interest rate you're earning on your money, and that will equal the number of years it will take to double your money. Now, if you can honestly tell me that it'll take you 3 months to remember that phrase, or you've been here a year, and you tell me it's going to take you a year to remember that phrase, or 2, 3 years to remember that phrase, you didn't remember that phrase by Saturday. Know how long it took me to remember that? 3 days. I know how to explain the rule of 72 in 3 days. You do a couple KTPs, I got the rule of 72 down. You asked me to say it word for word, I can say it word for word again. The rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. You take the number 72, divided by the interest rate that you're earning on your money. That will equal the number of years it will take to double your money. That's a powerful concept, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Powerful. But I just explained it right there. Hey, can you explain it? It's one sentence. It's one sentence. That phrase right there has paid me millions of dollars in this business. Millions! You just don't want it bad enough. You guys that don't know this, that have been here a little bit, you don't want it bad enough. Straight up. Let me be tough on you a little bit. You don't want it bad enough. Don't want it bad enough. It shows. So if you did, you would know it. Here's the thing though. Every single day is a new day. You can change. You can change it right now. I'm going to get this thing down. I'm going to be the master. So write down little affirmations. Man, I did this stuff all the time. Gee would check me on stuff. You don't know that? You know this? Da 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 da. Well, how much did you make last year? I made that last month. And I'm like, crap. And then I go, you know what? And then I'm sitting there like pushing through 5 sheets of paper, just pressing hard, I'm gonna freaking know this crap. Ugh. Seriously. I'm telling you, if you don't start to develop some freaking, you're just gonna be average and ordinary. Man, we're talking real hunger. We're talking about Kobe Bryant, 4 a.m. in the gym. You know? Winning a freaking Oscar. You know what I mean? Winning a freaking Oscar. Freaking winning an Oscar. actors their whole life don't even win an Oscar. It's what they do for a living. Whoever writes a basketball player get an Oscar. Winner's a winner, man. Right? You can't turn a mule into a racehorse. You gotta determine, hey, I'm gonna win at this thing. Okay. Let me hear what you guys wrote down. Rule of 72, what is it?
Interest formula. You take the number 72 divided by the interest rate earned on your money, and then what's the number of years it just takes to double the money.
Okay, Amanda, stand up. Let me hear it.
The rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. You can take the number 72, divide it by the interest rate you're earning on your money, and that will equal the number of years it would take to double your money.
Robert.
Rule 72 is compound interest formula. Take 72 divided by the interest rate that you're earning on your money, and that'll give you a number of years it'll take you to double your money.
Krista, you got it?
Yep.
Give it to me. That's what that means. Stand up.
The rule of 72 is a formula of compound interest. You take.
Compound interest formula, not formula of compound interest.
Okay.
Word for word.
Rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. So you take the number 72 divided by the interest rate of the money that you're earning, and equals the number of years that will double the money.
It will take to double your money, right? Is that how you wrote it down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get nervous talking.
Okay,
in
that's
public.
okay. That's okay. That's why I wanted you to read it. Byron, you got it?
So the rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. You take the number 72 divided by the interest rate that you're earning on your money, and it'll tell you how many years, and it equals how many years it takes to double your money.
Okay. Regina, you got it?
Yeah. The rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. You take the number 72 and divide it by the interest rate you are earning on your money, and that will equal the number of years it takes to double your money.
Okay. Johnny?
Rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. You take the number 72 divided by the interest rate you're earning on your money. That will equal the number of years to double your money.
Number of years it will take, right? It will take to double your money, right?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody got it?
Yes.
Rule of 72. It's a compound interest formula. Take the number 72, divided by the interest rate you're earning on your money, and that will equal the number of years it will take to double your money. We got it?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Is this simple?
Yes.
This is cake. But dude, this is half. This is like half the presentation. I sell this. I don't just explain it. I'm selling. I'm freaking selling the crap out of this. You know why? Because most people have their money in an account earning like 0.00 of nothing.
Yes.
Right? And then you show them, right? You can say, hey, so check this out. So let's go through this. Rule of 72. So let me explain this to you, CJ. You ever heard of the rule of 72 before? No? Okay. So basically the rule of 72 is a compound interest formula. You take the number 72 divided by the interest rate you're earning on your money, and that will determine the number of years it will take to double your money, okay? So I'm going to use 4% just because it's a round number. Banks are maybe doing, are you familiar with bank CDs at all? Do you know what interest rate they're earning right now?
2 to 3%.
2 to 3% on like a 5-year, right? Lock it up for 5 years. So I'm going to be nice and just say you're getting 4% at the bank, okay? Just use a round number. So if you were 29 years old and you put $10,000 in there, just as an example, you never put a penny more in. At 29, you put 10 grand in. At 4%, it would double every 18 years. So at 29, 18 years later, it would double to 20,000. And now, another 18 years later, you're now 65. It doubles one more time, right, to 40,000. Okay? So how are you feeling about your retirement? You're 65, you have 40 grand.
too good.
Not too good, right? So obviously 4% ain't gonna get you where you wanna go. Let's take 8%. So now we double the money, or I'm sorry, now we double interest rate, so most people would think that the money would double, right? But it's compounding, so it's doubling twice as fast. So 72 divided by 8 is 9 years. So instead of doubling every 8 years, at 4%, it's doubling every 9 years, so it's doubling twice as fast. So now at 29, you got 10. At 38, you got 20. 47, you already got 40. 56, you got 80. Now at 65, same age, you got 160 grand. So that's 4 percentage points is 120 grand at retirement. So you could be earning 8% on your money, and your neighbor, right? You guys could be barbecuing and going, hey, I'm getting 8%, and oh, I'm only getting 4. And it might not seem like that big of a deal, 4 percentage points, but long term, it's a 6-figure difference in retirement, right? If we go to 12, it's doubling every 6 years now. So now 29, now at 35 you got 20, 41, 40, 47 you got 80,000. 6 years later at 53 you got 160, at 59 you got 320, and nowadays 65 you have 640 grand. So it's over $500,000 difference now between 8 and 12%. Or $500,000.
Crazy.
So the reason why I'm showing you this is, one, do you know what interest rate you're even earning on your own money right now? I mean, do you know? Do you keep track? Right? So someone has a 401k, you go, hey, do you know what what the interest rate was over the last maybe, last quarter or last year, or last 5, 10 years on your 401k? Or whatever account you have? Most people will say, no, I have no idea. Well, let's look. And then shoot, some people go, yeah, I'm actually curious. I want to know if I'm getting a decent return. And then they look and they're getting crap. Right? And you go, look, this is how powerful this is. But check this out. You look at 8 or 12%, and you got to be thinking like, well, where do I go get that, right? So let's just pretend I don't know where to get 8 or 12%. So I cover this. I go, let's just pretend I don't know where to get 8 or 12. What did I just tell your brain? I do, but let's just pretend that we don't. That make sense? So, and let's just assume that we got this 4%. So let's just say we put $10,000 in the bank. CJ, do you think the bank just lets that 10 grand sit on the vault floor and collect dust?
No.
No way. What do they do with it?
Invest it.
They invest it, right? They're going to loan it out on credit cards and mortgages and student loans and car loans and the stock market. So is it safe to say they're going to earn 8 or 12 or even more? Absolutely, right? So let's just say they average 12 through the market and loans and your credit cards, stuff like that. They're getting 12%, and so they're going to give you, let's just say, be nice and say 4. They're going to grow it for them over here, earn 640. They're going to give you back 40. They're going to keep that difference of 600,000 for themselves.
Yeah.
So your free checking account, they're making money, aren't they? Because when you walked in, you needed interest on your money, but when you walked out, someone else is walking in needing a $10,000 loan. And they're not charging 4% and breaking even on the deal, are they?
No.
You ever seen a bank boarded up?
No.
Right? You go to LA or San Diego, the big high rises, what do they say at the top?
They usually bank.
Right? They don't say Reginald Whiteley on the top, do they? Typically?
Not yet.
So whatever client you're sitting with, say their name.
Yeah.
Hey, typically do you see right?
Bank of
Hey, do you see Robert? Yeah, Bank of CJ? No, what do you see? Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Because the bank's making a ton of money off people depositing their money in the bank. Now, let's be clear. Is there a need for bank accounts? Yes. Liquidity, right? Checking, savings, right? You feel secure, you're paying bills and stuff. But we could probably all agree tonight that this 4% ain't gonna get you where you wanna go. So what we do is we show clients how to earn potentially 8 to 12% on their money. Matter of fact, we have an account that has a 25-year track record of over 9% growth. 25-year track record of 9%. Pretty cool, right? You ever heard of such a thing? You have any idea where to go get that kind of rate of return? You don't know. Oh, well, I'm gonna show you. Right? So now I transition, I go, by the way, I'm halfway done now. So the first concept is, how can we increase your interest rate so that you can get your money growing, compounding faster for you? Does that sound like something that you wanna be a part of, right? You wanna find out a way to get your money compounding faster? Okay, so that's part one. The second part, right, because I said there was 2 parts, The second part is the biggest enemy of your money. What would you say is the biggest enemy of your money? What's the one thing you're gonna spend the most money on throughout your entire life?
Taxes.
Well, you guys all know, but what are most people gonna say? People are gonna say their house, people are gonna say kids, if gas prices are high, they say gas prices. I'm like, really? Like, no, it's actually, it's something that you pay more of than anything else, and most people don't even know that they're paying it until we tell them, then they realize, oh yeah, I go, so, you know, the government's got you fooled. They go, oh, that's right, taxes. I go, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of throw that in there. I go, oh, the government's got you tricked, because you don't even know what it is, and you pay the most of it. They go, oh, I go, so the government's got you, as soon as I say government, they're like, oh yeah, taxes. Exactly. So let's talk about taxes. Right? When it comes to saving and investing, there's 3 brackets that your money can fall into in relation to how they're taxed. Right? So let's start with, well, first of all, you have now, later, and exempt. You can pay taxes now, you can pay taxes later, or you can be an exempt. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, or whoever you're meeting with, when would you like to pay taxes? If you had the choice, when would you want to pay? Now, later, or be exempt? Yeah. You guys know what exempt means, right? It means you don't pay. Okay? So now, later, exempt. People say, well, exempt. Okay. Well, there's a need for all these accounts because they all serve a different purpose. Okay? Let's talk about the first one, now accounts. Your now accounts are your short-term, liquid type funds. Okay? Short-term liquid. So if someone wants to save for retirement, this probably isn't going to be your best bet. This is going to be maybe like down payment for a house, emergency fund. Yes, you can invest, but this is something from a tax perspective that you do long-term for retirement. Because the way that it works, at the end of your checking, your savings, CDs, money market, so I go through all that, right? But here's the gist on, as far as taxes. If you have $5,000 in your checking account, or in a mutual fund, and it grows to $5,200 that year, that $200 gain is now taxable as income.
Yes.
Because you made that, you earned that, right? So think of this from a tax perspective, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Right? You grow a little bit of money that year, and whatever it gained, the IRS goes, you have to claim that as income, and now they're gonna tax you on that $200. So at a 25% bracket, that's gonna cost you $50. Out of the $200 gain, it's gonna cost you $50, right? End of the year. So 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It stunts the growth along the way. Write that down. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So tax now is kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back type plan. It will stunt the growth along the way. So hopefully you're catching on all the little things that I'm doing. The now, later, and exempt. When would you want to pay? That's a trial. That's called a trial close. Because usually they're going to say exempt, and then it's like, okay, now you know what you're leading up to, right? Okay. So now you've explained this. Now you transition. You say, hey, in the late 70s, early 80s, they came out with tax later accounts. A tax me later account is one that you pay taxes at the end when you go to withdraw the money. You don't pay taxes up front. So these are usually employer-based plans. Employers have set these up so that you can take your money from your gross pay before taxes, contribute into this plan. This money's now going to grow on a tax-deferred basis. But let's talk about that for a second. To defer something means what? Put it off to a later date. Doesn't mean eliminates it. Deferment means later down the road. So you're going to defer your taxes to a later date, which in this case is 59.5. So these are your 401ks, 403bs, and TSAs, tax sheltered annuities, teachers, government employees. You have your traditional IRAs, 457, typically union, law enforcement. TSP is a thrift savings plan, for the military personnel, right? You have your fixed and variable annuities. These are like private pensions. This is what a lot of people are doing. If they have a 401k through their job and they retire, annuities can provide income for life, okay? But these all work the same. These are qualified plans, meaning you have to wait till you're 59.5. So you still are going to pay taxes when you withdraw. But if you touch it prior to age 59.5, they also, in addition to, they're going to assess a 10% early withdrawal penalty on top of taxes. So now, when we talk about this deferment, historically, have taxes gone up or down? they've historically gone up. So do you think it makes sense to pay taxes later and on a higher amount that you have saved?
No.
So think about that for a second, right? So let me give an example of kind of how this works, maybe versus exempt. Because you can't eliminate income taxes, but let me ask you a question. Let's pretend we're gonna go into the farming business. So you guys ever heard the penny seed story? Okay, so you go out on appointments, you're gonna hear the penny seed story. So penny seed story works like this. Let's pretend me and Reggie are gonna go into the farming business. We're gonna go buy a bag of seeds to plant a crop, and these seeds cost 1 penny, so they're a bag of penny seeds. And you gotta use body language, right? You guys have seen me do this, right? You gotta cup your hands, right? So a bag of penny seeds. Government's gonna give you 2 options. So we go to plant the seeds, the government says, hey, hold up. We're gonna give you guys 2 options. We're either gonna tax you on the penny seeds, or we're gonna let you plant the seeds and grow $1 million harvest, and then we'll tax you on the harvest. When should Reggie and I pay taxes? On the penny seeds or on the $1 million harvest? The penny seeds, right? Why? A lot smaller amount, right? Less taxes. So what's happening here is the penny seed is the money going in. On these tax later accounts, it's the seed is the contribution. They're letting your retirement harvest grow, and now when you're older, you have the most amount of money in there, you need the money the most, and now the taxes are the highest they're ever gonna be. That's when they wanna tax you. Right? Whose retirement plan are you really funding? Yours or Uncle Sam's? Okay? So now, let's talk about exempt. Anyone familiar with a Roth IRA? Okay? Let's briefly go over that. So very similar to a traditional IRA. You still have the 59.5 rule, but because you've been taxed on the seed, the harvest is tax-free. They put a stipulation, you still have to wait till 60 though. So you have to wait till 60, but the harvest is still gonna be tax-free. Because you've already paid taxes on the seed, which is your income. You can't avoid income taxes. So here you're technically paying taxes twice. You're paying income taxes and then taxes on the gain. But you're paying income tax not on when you made it, you're paying income tax on the income you earn when you retire, which potentially is a lot more if taxes go up, which they always have. So here you pay taxes on your income as you earn it, and then it goes into this account, and then any gain is now tax-free, tax exempt. Okay? So you still have to wait till 60 though, and then the max contribution is $5,500 a year. Okay, which could be limiting at times. If I sat down with a guy who's 45 years old, he's playing catch up. Well, to know that he can only put a little over $400 in a month, is kind of limited. This guy wants to put more money. He's playing catch up. He gets a good tax return. What happens if you get a bonus? What happens if you get an inheritance? What happens if you flip a property or sell a paid off car or something like that, and you want to put more money in? You're limited to $5,500 a year. So that could be a hindrance, right?
Yeah.
Because this 45-year-old guy is only going to be able to put in 55 grand over the next 10 years. So now he's 55 years old and has 55,000 invested into it plus any gain. You think this guy's on track for retirement?
No.
Not even close, right? And he's maxing this thing out for 10 freaking years. That's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
And by the way, if he makes more than 110 a year, single, or 170 filing jointly, is that accurate? Is it 120 now? It's 120 single and 170 married filing jointly. If you make more than that, then you can't even get one of these. Right? So think about this. You think Denzel Washington making 20 million a movie? He can't qualify for a Roth IRA, can he?
No.
Do you think he's maxing, you think he's doing a 401k, waiting until 59.5, maxing it out at 18 grand a year, 17.5, whatever it is? You think he's putting his money in all mutual funds and stocks and getting taxed on every single gain each year? No. Okay, so let's talk about this last one. So I use that example. I'm talking to a white guy, it's Tom Cruise. I'm talking to a black guy, it's Denzel Washington. I swear to God. I don't even care. I don't even care. Straight up.
What about Mexican?
Straight up. Benicio del Toro.
Oh.
Yeah. Throw it out there, right? I throw it out there. Boom.
Got me.
Quick on the draw, dude. Right? So you gotta be able to do that. Yeah, Jackie Chan, Italian dude, Al Pacino, you make it happen, right? You do what you gotta do. But so here's the thing. But it makes sense though, right? Think about 20 million, Tom Cruise, a 20 million a movie. He can't put that in his Raw, he's not doing a 401k, he's not putting it in stocks. So what else is he gonna do with it? So let's talk about IUL. First of all, have you ever heard of it before?
No.
Most people haven't. You wanna know why? Because your employer doesn't offer it. Most people, you know that it's almost 90% of people are solely dependent upon their retirement from their work. Almost 90%, it's like 80-something% of people are solely dependent upon their employer's retirement plan. Crazy, right? So that's why most people haven't heard of IUL. It's not you just justified it. So I take away the objection before it even comes up. Oh, I never heard of it before. And most people never heard of it before because, so I already say that. I go, hey, have you ever heard of it? They go, no. And I go, well, because 90%, almost 90% of people are solely dependent upon their employer's plan. What the employer offers. Which, by the way, did the employer give you all these options? Show you all this stuff, or they just set you up in one thing? Interesting, right? Kind of crazy? Okay, so check this out. So IUL. Let's talk about it. No taxes. So you're gonna contribute, and when you go to pull the money out, you're not gonna get taxed on it. Okay? There's no 59.5 rule. Meaning you don't have to wait till 59.5 to access it. You can touch it prior without any penalties or early withdrawal penalties. Okay? They are gonna limit what you can access in the beginning years of the plan, but you don't have to wait till 60 like a traditional IRA or 401k. The more money you put in early, the more access you're gonna have along the way, but you don't have to wait till 60, I can tell you that right now, okay? You have no risk. This account has no risk whatsoever. So these accounts here, Roth IRA, 401ks, stocks, mutual funds, they all carry some element of risk, right? If the market crashes and you're in, if you got Coca-Cola stock and Coca-Cola goes under, they go bankrupt, what happens to your stock? It's gone. All the money you invested is gone. If it goes bankrupt, that stock is goes zeroes out. Your money's zeroed out. You have stocks that are worth nothing, right?
Exactly.
So this account you have no risk. It has a minimum guaranteed floor of 0.75% and a cap of 15%. So the minimum floor means you'll never lose, even if the market crashes. You're still going to gain 0.75, and then when the market's good, it can get as high as 15%. And I'll just scroll right over. I'll flip the page, and I'll go right here. I'll go right to the account, and I'll show them. 0.75%, minimum guaranteed interest rate, 15% cap. Okay? Let's look at what it's done the last 25 years. Like I said, 9.05. Last 20 years, it's at 8.65. Last 15 years, it's done over 8.5%. Pretty consistently, right? Remember when I was showing you the rule of 72? 8-9%, that's pretty good, huh? And then you still know that if the market does good, you can still go as high as 15 too. You know, you still got that. And you can sleep at night knowing that it's never gonna crash, it's never gonna go negative, right? So let's keep going here. You have indexing options. So, I don't know if you're familiar with the indexing or the indexes, but think of it like a mutual fund. You got a group of funds, you're not invested in one stock. So you're diversified here. You have the S&P 500, the top 500 companies in the US. Euro Stoxx 50, top 50 companies in Europe. Hang Seng is like the Asian 200. Okay? So that's how I explain it. Pretty simple. And I'll ask them, hey, have you ever heard the expression, don't put all your eggs in one basket? So here you're diversified, meaning that if the S&P is if the US stock market is not doing so good, then instead of settling for 0.75, because you still got the guarantee, but if the Euro Stoxx and the Hang Seng are doing well, then instead of getting 0.75, you might get 4, 5, or 6%, because the other two might pull that average up, right? If you were just an S&P, even if you had the guarantee and the cap, if S&P's negative 40, then yeah, you got the 0.75. But because you're diversified, if Euro Stoxx and Hang Seng are still doing good, then you might get 3 or 4 or 5%, because it's going to balance it out a little bit better. So your opportunities are a lot better. So it's called diversification, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you want to be diversified. So don't put all your eggs on, so write that down, don't put all your eggs, so diversification is don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So you have someone that, you use that for so many references, right? Someone goes, oh, well, all my money's in real estate. I go, well, what happened in 2008? I go, well, crap, I lost everything. I go, well, then you don't wanna have all your money in real estate, right? So that's why you need to have some of your money in this. So diversification, right? Okay. So, IRC 7702. What's IRC stand for? Internal Revenue Code. Write that down. IRC 7702. Internal Revenue Code 7702. This is the tax code, right? That says if you qualify for permanent life insurance, so this is a permanent life insurance plan, that you can reap all these benefits. No taxes, early withdrawal, guaranteed growth, right? You earn all that, right? Tax-free wealth transfer. So it's permanent plan. So let me give you another one. How many of you have heard the expression, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer?
Yep.
Everybody, right? So last time I checked, nobody lives forever. So when you pass, and who knows when that is, whatever money you have inside this account, plus the life insurance death benefit, both will be transferred to your beneficiaries 100% income tax free.
Boom.
Boom. All right? Drop the boom on them. Drop the boom on them. Seriously. Don't be afraid just to go boom. Right? Then right after to say that, you go boom. They're like, what? Boom. Boom, right? But that's freaking awesome. So I'm gonna go here, and if we're talking interest rates and stuff like that, you're talking about the guarantees. I was just showing Adriana this too. So this is what these indexes did. Right here, here's the averages. So this was 2001. So what happened with 9/11? I mean, between 16, 20, that's 41, so half your money. So even though you got great years here in the market, you still would have got 15%, and you're like, well, wait, I'm taking a loss because it would have done so much better. Yeah, but then whatever your gain was, half that's gone, in the next 3 years. But with IUL, you would have gained 0.75 in those years. Instead of losing half your money, you still would have gained 0.75. It rebounded. You got capped at 15. When it did 8, you got 8. 13, you got 13. It did 18, you got 15. It did 9, you got the 9. Then what happened in 2008? Market crashed, right? So you lost again another almost half your money again. So your 100,000, so 100,000 would have dropped down to 60 grand, negative 40%. But if you were in IUL, that 100 grand would still be intact, right? And then 26, etc. So the last 20 years is averaged 8.65 with no negative years. Or you could ride the real high peaks and valleys, the real big roller coaster, and you would have gained 5.36. So that's a difference of 3.5%. Well, remember what 4% difference was when I showed the rule of 72? Right? From 4 to 8 was how much? It was like 120 grand difference. So you're talking about a 6-figure difference at retirement. And depending on, and even on this, you'd have to retire at the right time. Because if you're in the market here, what if you were hitting retirement age right when the market crashed? Oof. Now half your money's gone. You know how many stories there were, right? Because I was in the business in 2004. I went through 2008 in the business. People go, oh, so what happened with your business? I go, it's residual, it's team building, I sustained and kept making more money while everyone else was losing the market. Financial advisors were going and getting jobs. And people that were approaching retirement, that were planning on selling their big house, downsizing and retiring, found themselves on their feet 8 hours a day at Starbucks and Walmart for another 10 years to make the money back to be able to retire again. So you got someone who's 65 going, I gotta work another 10 years just to be able to recoup the losses that I took on one market crash. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what, Mr. and Mrs. Jones? Lo and behold, you could sleep like a baby at night knowing that your money's safe and secure with us. Right? By the way, I did all the research on this account. Let me show you one other thing. This is from the Denver Business Journal. It says a little publicized tax code can help save you money. Let's read this together. Most individuals are unaware of a little known tax code that's available to all investors regardless of their income or net worth. Let me explain that for a second. So the reason why I cover that is, one, in the presentation we talk about education, right? Well, it's available to everyone, but how come no one's ever heard of it before? Lack of education in the industry. Is the bank teaching you about how to save and invest money? No. Is your job really teaching you how to save and invest money? No. Is the school system teaching you how to save and invest money? No. Our parents, I don't want to speak for myself, but parents aren't teaching us how to do either. So that's why what we're doing is so powerful. But this is available to everyone, not just the wealthy, and it don't matter how much money you make. So it's out there, right? So let's read this. The Internal Revenue Code section for this tax break is IRC 7702. One of its components refers to tax advantage growth of the cash value inside of a life insurance policy. If properly structured, pause. So properly structured meaning that there's minimums that you have to contribute, and there's an annual amount that you're allowed to put in per year. So that's why you need an advisor like myself that can help structure a plan for you to make sure it's done properly so you can take advantage of this tax break. So now you're putting value on you, like I can do this for you, right? So properly structured, meaning it's just like, we can't just like, oh, here you go. No, we gotta structure it, you gotta qualify, right? That's the mindset, right? So if properly structured, an individual has the opportunity to both grow their investment money and access their money before or after 59 and a half, doesn't matter, without ever paying taxes on the gains.
Boom.
Boom. Right? However, the IRS puts limits on contributions to life insurance because it realizes the tax benefits of the contracts. That's why you have to properly structure it. Let me show you. Right? So let's run numbers. And that's where you're going to go into the, right? So let me so when I show this here, I'm going to go back and say, hey, so by the way, we offer all of this here. Well, let me ask you a question. Based on what I've gone over, do you feel that what you have is the best thing for you? What are they going to say?
No.
Most of the time when they say no. I go, all right, I feel the same way. If you have a 401k, you probably want something like this, but let me just make sure, Reggie, that this is something that would be suitable for you. So let me ask you just a couple of questions. Would you want to pay taxes on your retirement or not pay taxes if you had the choice?
Not pay taxes.
You'd rather not pay taxes, right? Okay. What about 59 and a half? I mean, would you want to have to wait, or you like the idea of being able to access money prior, maybe even retiring earlier?
Earlier is better.
Earlier is better? Okay. What about risk? How do you feel about risk? I mean, you want to take on all the risks of the stock market, or you like the idea of a guarantee with still good market return?
Guarantees.
Guarantee with still potential good market return?
Okay.
Okay, great. And then lastly is permanent life insurance. Do you feel you have a need for life insurance protection, or would you want to leave a legacy or pass on wealth to your heirs?
Well, yeah, I got a family.
Got a family, so this is a no-brainer. So let me be straightforward with you. Those 4 benefits right there, what I just mentioned, there isn't another product in the marketplace that has all 4 of those features built into one product, except for this. This is the only one that can do all that in one product. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And yet you told me just a little bit ago you never heard of it.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 14 years, and and most people that I sit down with have never heard of it before. Because the employer, right? Did your job offer you this? No, right?
They show me that.
And even if you had an advisor, like, well, let's say he's got an advisor. I go, hey, oh yeah, I got a guy at Edward Jones. Well, did he show you this?
No.
Well, why not? Well, wait, what did he set you up with? Mutual fund, right? Roth, right? Take on all the risk of the market, you're gonna pay taxes or wait till 60. Isn't that interesting? Think about that. Matter of fact, when's the last time you even talked to him? 6 years, 7 years? 3 years ago? But you guys get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So now I've already painted the picture. I got that guy going, well, shoot. I go, hey, so tell you what, let's do this. So write that down. Tell you what, let's do this. So this is an embedded command. You don't just say, so what do you think? You know, would you want me to, no, you're walking them down the street. You're guiding them down that yellow brick road, right? You gotta hold their hand and walk them down it. Tell you what, let's do this. Right? I'm gonna run an illustration for you. I'd like to show you what a plan like this, how powerful a plan like this could be for you and your family. And now I'm gonna run an illustration. Right? And so now as I'm pulling this up, I'm gonna pull out my financial worksheet. I'm gonna pull out my financial worksheet. Matt, did you email it to me or no? Did you
I
send
did.
it to me? You did? Oh, okay.
I did. It's in your email
Okay.
already.
Okay, hold
Your
on.
WFG Nick.
Okay. Hold on one second then. Let me take this off real quick. Don't want you guys to see all my spam and all this stuff. You never know, man. Reggie.
The other advisor doesn't do the boom, so I would do a big sale.
You're like, I like the boom. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this. Check this out. So I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna say, hey, so before I go through numbers and stuff, let me just kind of get some information from you so I can really run an accurate illustration. And I'm gonna go through this and just get basic stuff. You know, some stuff I'm gonna need to get. I'm gonna ask them, you know, right, the basic questions, right, that are here. When's the last time you reviewed your family's financial goals? You know, what was your annual income? So right now, I'm determining how much coverage and I'm determining affordability, right? That's what you're doing, right? So, I made 60 grand, okay, my wife made this, or what was your last year's tax return? Okay, did you blow all that money? Did you save any of it? You know, sometimes I ask, sometimes I'm just kind of mental note, like, okay, so they got a good tax return, wonder if they have anything saved, right? When's the last time you reviewed your family's financial goals? Most people are gonna say monthly, some people are gonna say never, or whatever. Do you have an established monthly budget? Do you keep track? Do you itemize and keep track what your bills are going out versus what you have coming in? That's kind of 50-50, but just, you know, you're asking the questions because you're the advisor, right? You're the professional. So you have to be confident and take control of the appointment. You don't sit there and go, well, this, and you know, it's like you gotta confidently go, hey, I'm doing my job right now, right? You're in there, you're on financial advisor mode, right? So savings plan, are you currently saving money right now? Yes, I am. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. You said you had a 401 or whatever their situation was, right? So go through that. If they have an established monthly budget, I'm not gonna go through this. If they make decent money and they say they have a budget and they're saving, I'm not gonna go through, all right, how much do you spend on food? How much do you, but if there's like, if income's lower, this is never, this is no, then you best believe I'm going through this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They're not saving, they don't have a budget, they've never gone over their financial goals, they're making 25 grand a year, you know, or whatever. I'm probably gonna go through some of this stuff. And they got kids and there's all these moving parts. Yeah, I really wanna know, you know? You guys are making money, but you're not saving anything, you don't have a budget. We probably need to go through this and figure out where you're spending all your money. If you ain't got anything, you're not saving anything, you don't have a budget, let's break it down. But if you don't need to, don't. If you want to, take the time, do it. It's kind of case by case. I'm gonna do it if I feel it's necessary for me to get a dollar commitment and for them to see where their money's really going. Some people just don't know. If they don't have a budget, they don't have any clue, they're like, man, I spend this, I do that, and they're real loose and they don't have anything saved. I'm gonna go through this just to kind of check them a little bit and go, you spend how much on food? You spend how much on this? Man, I don't even spend that much. You know, and you know, and all this kind of stuff, right? So then you gotta go through debt. Let me just pull this in. I'm gonna go through their debt, right? Especially like as they, you know, if they have money and husband and wife are both working and they have kids and stuff, then I'm gonna go through their debts and stuff too. I'm gonna go through this, right? Then the next one, I'm gonna go through if they have insurance. So do they have insurance, right? Is it through work? Is it a separate policy? If it's through work, then you're gonna explain that insurance through work, you know, if you lose your job, you get fired or you quit, you're gonna lose your insurance. So as an advisor, we recommend that you have insurance outside of your work because people change jobs 7 or 8 times, you know, throughout their life, right? You know, on average, so you're gonna lose your coverage. Or when you go to retire and then now right? You leave your job, you're gonna lose that coverage, so if you still need insurance, if your house isn't paid off, if you're still married, if you still have dependent children, or whatever the case may be, you're still gonna need to have life insurance even after you retire, even after you have even after you leave your employer. So we recommend having insurance outside of work. Insurance need, how much insurance coverage, so depending on what they have, how much coverage they have, let's go, hey, I'll just ask them, I'll say, hey, do you feel you have enough life insurance protection? Or how much do you think, how much coverage do you think you need? And then if you need help with it, you can kind of go through this and say, hey, this is an example. If they got 150 grand and they make 50 grand a year and they feel good about that, you gotta really show them how much coverage they really need. You go, look, how much, your debts. I mean, you owe more than that just on your mortgage alone. You got 150 grand, but you owe 300,000 on your mortgage. You're underinsured. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And you're going through income, 10 times their salary, their mortgage, and any kind of educational needs that they have for their children. They need, they probably need more coverage, but you play that based on what they got. You're just gathering info, right? And then you get to here, right? You get to here, and it says, at what age would you like to be in a financial position to retire? What do they say? Now, tomorrow, right? Yesterday, right? You say, no, realistically. So the guy's 42, he says, well, I've always just, the way I'm looking at it, probably like 65 years old, whatever. Okay, so 65, and how much income, what's your desired income? How much would you need to be able to live the lifestyle that you want and not have to work? Or maybe work because you want to, not because you have to. How much would you need to have coming in per month or per year? And they're gonna give you a number. They're gonna tell you they need 10 grand a month, they're gonna tell you 5 grand a month, they're gonna tell you a certain amount per year, whatever. And then it says right here, do you feel you're on track? That's a key question right there. And here's the thing, you guys, you're just reading it, you're just doing your job. So when you're reading it off of here, it's not like they're gonna go, well, why are you asking me that? Or, it's like, no, you're in the appointment, you're just doing your job. You know what I mean? So don't question yourself or don't be all scared or whatever, just go through the sheet and fill it out. It's simple. Because by going through what I just went through, and now I'm gonna go through all this stuff too. So now, where's your money at right now? Do you have checking and savings accounts? Yes, I do. Okay, what are their balances? How much do you have in your checking? Okay, are you contributing to your savings every month? Yeah, I take $100 out of every paycheck and put it into my savings. Okay, how much time, how many times you get paid a month? I get paid, bi-weekly, twice a week. Okay, so you're putting $200 into your checking. Into your savings. So I'm gonna put checking, they got 6 grand in there. Monthly contribution is 0. That's just, their income's coming into that account. Their savings though, they got 3 grand in there and they're putting in $200 a month. Okay, so now you got that, right? And by the way, what's your savings earning on interest? Nothing. Well, okay, you need emergency fund. Okay, so you got $200 going there. Okay, cool. So you're taking money there. What about mutual funds or stocks? You have any of those? Write it down. Yeah, they got stocks. Okay, how much they got in there? Okay, are you contributing to your stocks? Contributing to your mutual funds? Same thing, just go through them. Go through them. Do you have any other accounts? Do you have any 401ks, any old IRAs, anything like that? You're trying to find money here. You're asking if they have any other accounts. All of them. Go through all of them. Don't just sit there and go, oh, do you have any money saved? No, go through and go, hey, do you have any you have a current 401k? What about your previous employer? Did you roll that over? Oh, no, you know what, I have. So, there's some of the client the other day, and it's like, oh, I got probably 15, 20 grand in that account. I completely forgot about it. Like, 15, 20 grand you forgot about? Hey, give it to me,
I won't forget about it.
Right, yeah, so it's like, okay, Roth IRA, cash value life insurance, you have anything that's tax exempt? No, I don't. Or, so if everything's heavy over here, or anything's here, you go, hey, we gotta get you something over here. Right? Do you feel you're on track? No, okay. Do you have a will, do you have a trust, do you expect any lump sums? How much do you believe you can comfortably set aside each month to reach your financial goals? It's recommended 10% of your household income. It is recommended. 5% worst case scenario. And then it's got 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 10% of your income. This is just there to circle, but if you go off of, I like personalizing it and saying, hey, most of my clients feel comfortable doing 10%, or I'll do a dollar amount. Typically a client in your case, with your income's doing about $500 to $1,000 a month. What number would you feel comfortable starting with? And they'll kind of tell you, they go, oh, well, that's maybe too much, or yeah, I was thinking about 500. or maybe it's a little too much, well, all right, how much is too much? Well, I could probably do like 3, okay, great, now you got a $300 commitment. Right?
Yep.
And then whatever they say, I usually chop that down a little bit even too, because sometimes people